Today we see about the production of fermented foods. What is fermented food? Introduction. Fermented foods are defined as foods or beverages produced through controlled microbial growth and the conversion of food components through enzymatic actions. Many foods have historically undergone fermentation, including meat and fish, dairy, vegetables, soya beans, and other legumes, cereals, and fruits. There are two main methods through which foods are fermented. First, foods can be fermented naturally, often referred to as wild ferments or spontaneous ferments, whereby the microorganisms are present naturally in the raw food or processing environment. For example, charcuterie, kimchi, and certain fermented soya products. Secondly, foods can be fermented via the addition of starter culture known as culture dependent ferments. For example, kefir, kombucha, and natto. Some fermented foods kimchi, charcuterie, kefir, cheese, yogurt, cultured buttermilk, kombucha, beer, and wine. Kimchi. Kimchi is a traditional fermented Korean dish made of vegetables with a variety of seasoning. It is spicy and sour. The microorganisms involved in kimchi are L. mesenterides, Lactobacillus brevis, Pediococcus cerevisiae, and L.b. plantarum. Production of kimchi. Kimchi is made by lactofermentation. A fresh cabbage was taken and the cabbage is soaked in salty brine that kills off harmful bacteria. Next, the cabbage is washed with water for 1 to 2 hours. After 1 to 2 hours, the water was discarded. Rinse the cabbage 2 to 3 times in the sink until salt is removed and allowed to drain in a colander. Add the ingredients and mix well. Once combined, place mixture in a jar, pressing down and packing tightly so that the mixture is submerged in its own liquid. The jar was placed at room temperature for 2 to 5 days. Each day of fermentation, remove the lid to release gases and press down on the mixture to keep it submerged. After 2 to 5 days of fermentation, store kimchi in refrigerator. Sacred. The word sacred are German terms for sour cabbage. Sacred is a product of natural lactic acid fermentation of fresh cabbage in the presence of small amount of salt involving lactic acid bacteria, Leuconostac mesenterides and Lactobacillus plantarum. Sacred is a rich in vitamin C and has a mild laxative action due to dextran content of the product. Production of sauerkraut. The sauerkraut process is same to kimchi process. The fresh cabbage was taken and remove the outer leaves of cabbage. Cut out the core and rinse the cabbage well. Peel off one more outer leaf and thinly shred the remaining cabbage and add a salt. Then it was filled in wooden vats and allowed to ferment at 18 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius for 30 to 40 days. After fermentation, it was packed and stored in refrigerator. Kefir. Kefir is a beverage produced by the action of lactic acid bacteria, yeast and acetic acid bacteria on milk, which produces a distinctive fermented milk product with unique properties. It is produced by adding a starter culture called kefir grains directly to milk. The kefir grains are a mass of several different bacteria and yeast embedded in a complex matrix of protein and carbohydrate. The mouth feel of kefir is described to be pricky and sparkly. Next, we see about cheese. Cheese is a concentrated form of two major milk components, milk protein and milk fat. Besides milk, it contains a selected strain of bacteria, a milk clotting agent, and sodium chloride. Variations in the basic constitute use of additional ingredient and different environmental conditions surrounding the manufactures and the subsequent ripening of cheese have given rise to various varieties of cheese. Production of cheese. The milk is needed to produce cheese. Adding cultures to the milk allow it to begin ferment and makes it to more acidic. Adding coagulant to milk and cut the coagulum. Next, the cut coagulum is cooked and the whey is drained, leaving only a mat of cheese curds. The cheese maker next cuts the curd mat into sections and repeatedly flips the sections before milling the mat. The salt is added to curds. Next, the curd is crushed and the ripening of cheese. Yogurt. Yogurt is produced by the controlled fermentation of milk by two species of bacteria, Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Lactococcus thermophilus. The lactose is fermented to lactic acid and it is the one which causes the characteristic curd to form. Streptococcus thermophilus brings the pH of the milk down to 5.5. Production of yogurt. The raw milk was pasteurization. After pasteurization, add the starter culture and it was incubated to get the raw yogurt. Then add the flavor. You will have delicious, healthy, thick and creamy yogurt. Kombucha. Kombucha is fermented tea that's fishy, tart, and flavorful. It's made from either green or black tea and offer these drinks potent health promoting properties. Animal studies that drinking kombucha may help protect the liver from damage caused by exposure to harmful chemicals. Kombucha may help decrease blood sugar, triglycerides, and LDL cholesterol levels. Next, we see about beer and wine. Beer and wine are alcoholic drinks made by fermentation reactions that use yeast to convert sugar into ethanol. Ethanol is the type of alcohol found in wine and beer. Functions of yeast in beer production. Barley is the principal grain used in production of beer. Sugars in grain, example barley, for making beer. Sugar in fruits, example grapes, for making wine. Main steps in producing beer: malting and brewing. Barley contains enzyme to convert starch to simple sugars, which is needed for fermentation. Soaking barley in water for germination. Germination of barley activates the starch breaking enzyme. Variety of barley determines the color, texture, and flavor of beer. Hops are added to give flavors, aromas, and bitterness in the beer. Hops also act as preservatives. Wine production. Wine are made from fermented juice of fruits, usually grapes, grains, and vegetables. The sugar in fruit juice and starch in grain vegetables contribute to yeast fermentation. The yeast strain used in wine fermentation. Wine production determines the flavors found in wine. The word wine usually refers to wine made from grapes. White wines can be made from white, green, red, or black grapes. Red wines are made from red or black grapes. Sulfides are usually added to red wines to maintain their red color. References. Thank you for watching this video.